Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RAMP, Real Access Motivates Progress, live Wednesday night podcast. You know, if you're seeing this face on your Facebook pages, Twitter, Instagram, or any social media, you know it's Wednesday night, and we have a message and a resource for you to deal with coming up. So that's what we're all about. We have a great show for you tonight. We have the Family Services of Rhode Island and AmeriCorps with us tonight, and I cannot wait to share with all of you what they do. So welcome, ladies, and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am so excited, so let's jump right in it tonight. Joyce, let's start with you. Let's introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do and where you work.
Okay, so my name is Joyce Levin. I work for Family Service of Rhode Island. I've been there 6 years, and I started as a walking school bus program coordinator and have developed and actually brought on an AmeriCorps program and am now a community development director. So what that means is I make connections in the community between Family Service of Rhode Island, in addition to other resources, and work with students in school. I oversee our Be Safe program, which has been a program developed utilizing our AmeriCorps team that brings food and PPE to residents throughout Rhode Island that are in need of those resources. And I work in addition to that, I also work with Emily Lucas, who will be speaking next about what we do with AmeriCorps. So that's basically the gist of my role at Family Service of Rhode Island. So I enjoy it very much. It's been a
that's
very
great. And we're so glad to have you tonight.
Interesting time.
Emily, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Emily Lucas. Like Joyce said, I work very closely with her. I'm the site supervisor for our AmeriCorps program. I actually participated in the program in the 2019-2020 school year, right after I finished my undergrad degree, and then came on to supervise. And what our AmeriCorps members do is they work in 3 elementary schools in Providence right now, doing attendance outreach and trying to engage students and family to increase attendance in those Providence schools. So we facilitate the walking school bus program that Joyce mentioned, and we also have an in-school mentorship program, which we use a model called Check and Connect to do that. So our mentors spend a lot of time connecting families with resources and just kind of building relationships with the students in the schools.
That's amazing. I love hearing that. And Kathy, last but not least, introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do.
Wonderful. Thank you. My name is Kathy Saunders, and I am a program development consultant, and I work with ServeRI, and ServeRI is the state AmeriCorps agency, oversees the network of AmeriCorps teams, of which Family Service is one of them, and with the Check and Connect program. And so I support AmeriCorps programs in, I help support the staff to support the AmeriCorps programs to better serve their members so that their members, the AmeriCorps members themselves, can better serve the community. And I've gotten to work with Joyce over the past few years. I've been doing this work with ServeRI for 4 years. And I also, I say a number of years ago, before they had an AmeriCorps program, I was a volunteer with the walking school bus program. So I have a firsthand perspective of the population and the kind of work and who the Family Service AmeriCorps program is serving. And it's just an honor to help support that work.
That's great. I want to ask the first question. What is the walking school bus for those who do not know what the walking school bus is all about? Joyce.
All right. Yeah. So walking school bus is a very grassroots approach to getting children to school safely and on time. What we do is we work with a community of within a school that has students that live within a mile of their school that have to walk every day. Some of those streets are a little busy. There's also issues sometimes with transportation if parents do not have a car or they're not able to drive their child to school. What we do is engage the parent, the child, and we have them join us, groups of people. We walk them and escort them to school each morning. And during that time, we're able to connect with the parent, see what's going on in the household, but we're also able to engage students. It's the first point of contact that students have before they enter the school building. And it's really a great way to start the day.
That's amazing. And what is the age category for this walking school bus? Is it just the younger kids? Is it all ages? What is the age range?
We primarily work with elementary schools. Yeah, kinder through 5. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Em.
Oh, yep. I was just going to say the same thing. K through 5 primarily.
Mm-hmm.
The junior high kids, 7 through 9 or 8? I don't know what Providence does, but it's either 8 or 9. Do they participate, or do they pretty much on their own once they get to the higher grades?
They're on their own at that point. Unfortunately, we don't have capacity at this time to really bring in a middle school. Our work primarily centers around elementary school. And that's to build a foundation and to start good attendance habits, they expect us every day at the same time, usually the same people, the same core people with community volunteers sprinkled in on a daily basis just to mix it up a bit. But it's, like I said, it's just a great way to really get to know children and get them to school, as they should be getting to school on time.
Emily, how can somebody who may not know about the program, how can somebody contact you or Joyce or Kathy to get on this program if they don't know, or if there's a community out there that doesn't have this program, how can they start it in their community?
In order to contact us, I would say the best way that we would go about that is through the schools that we're already at. So we are at Harry Kazarian Elementary School, Mary E. Fogarty, and Vartan Gregorian Elementary School. So we work with the attendance teams and administration there to kind of target kids who might need to be on this walking school bus. And then Joyce, I don't know if you want to speak to, I know some other districts have kind of started walking school bus programs on their own, separate from family service. So I don't know if you want to speak to how they might, get that off the ground.
Yeah. What we've done in the past is we've gone in to schools. William Debate Elementary had a walking school bus that we had helped them start, and they continued the program once they felt as though they had the capacity to do so. I'm not sure if there's still I'm not sure if it's still happening now. However, if anybody ever wanted information, they can certainly reach out to me, and we can help a school get a walking school bus program started if needed.
And Joyce,
great. And Kathy, what is your role?
Oh, sure. I was just going to ask Joyce a follow-up question, because I believe, am I correct that Check and Connect, that walking school bus is a part of the Check and Connect program, and the Check and Connect program is actually a national model that a school could adopt? That there are templates and
Yes. So, and again, the mentoring piece is it's evidence-based, Check and Connect, and that's what we use as our mentoring tool once kids get into school. So once we walk them to school, Tina, what we do is we also mentor them once they're in the school. For instance, if a child needs a little more social emotional support, or if a child needs a little more academic support, we meet with them throughout the week, a total of 90 minutes, both formal and informal check-ins. And so we tie it all in. We're walking them in the morning, with a little bit of a check-in. And then once they're in school, we also make sure that they know that we're there and available to them if needed.
Oh, that's great. So Kathy, how does your role play in all this?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I just wanted to get that other piece in because I
No,
think
that's
it's so
great.
wonderful that this model would be. Yeah. So there are many different ways that I have worked with family service, sort of behind the scenes on administration pieces. But one of the most interesting things that we're working on right now is we're trying to support all of our AmeriCorps programs to better recruit, support, and retain AmeriCorps members who have disabilities. So that is that people who are serving as AmeriCorps members have disabilities and can successfully do the volunteer service description, whether it's this mentoring, this walking school bus, being a part of that program. So we have been doing a series of trainings and helping family service write their position descriptions in a most accessible way. And we're over the next 3 years going to be thinking about how do we help make all of our AmeriCorps positions be more inviting and successful for people with disabilities who might want to serve.
That's amazing because, you know what I mean? We serve, I mean, everybody who knows I sit in a wheelchair, so I'm part of the disability community. And, you know, we're such an asset to this community that we're the black horse of the community, that people don't realize how much that they could tap into a community that wants to work, wants to serve. And it just teaches children who don't have interaction with disabilities empathy, and that it's not somebody to be afraid of. It's somebody who, you know, just does things differently, and it gives them a whole new way to think outside of the box. I think that's amazing how you pair them up, because the one thing that I find with schools is they make the school or a certain wing of the school accessible for the few children that they may have in a wheelchair that uses a mobility device, but they forget that the child could be fine, but it's the parent who's in a wheelchair or uses a mobility device. So when that parent wants to go and volunteer at the school or wants to go be part of the walking school bus or, you know, support their child, they can't get in, they can't access the theaters, they can't access the sporting arenas. You know what I mean? So we need to be thinking of this as a family as a whole, because it may not be the student that needs that accessibility, but the supporting parent that needs it. And that child needs to know their parent can support them because they can get there, and they're not the only child. You know, both of my children walked and was into everything. It was me that couldn't get to a lot of things because I wasn't able to. For sure, inaccessibility.
And I think that's such a good example that too, you know, we may be serving children, but what about the, you know, the adult volunteers, the adult AmeriCorps members, the adult staff, wanting it to be welcoming and accessible so that you get the most talented, most caring people working with the children and not blocking off the ability for these people to be a part of that service team and community. So now, that's part of what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Do you only service the children that are part of the walking bus, or can any student who, you know, is fortunate enough to take a bus because they live more than a mile, do they get the same services even though they're not part of the walking bus? Are they still supported through your program if they wanted to? Joyce?
Yes, they are. What we do is, you know, we meet with the school and we talk about students that may benefit from our mentoring model, and we outreach to parents, we speak to them, have the children register, and they get the same type of, you know, support, that mentoring support in school as somebody that walks with us on a daily basis. So that is available to them.
Yeah. Emily, how has the pandemic affected, either good or bad, to this program?
It's definitely made a lot of things much more challenging. Like we said, our program is all centered around school attendance. So with COVID and thinking of students needing to be out for quarantine or out to get tested, or, you know, worst case scenario, out because they do have COVID and are sick or have family members that are sick, has really had a negative effect on the district's attendance overall. And just like the general confusion around, when should I stay home? When should I be at school? And those things has been really challenging for us to overcome. And at the same time, we are all working in the schools and are also being exposed, on a regular basis to a lot of the same germs that the kids are, and the students are primarily unvaccinated at this point. So it has made it difficult in those ways, just actually, battling having to quarantine, having to, trace contact with different students and families. But I think it's made us think a lot more creatively about how we can potentially switch our model of mentorship if needed to be online, and like the ways that we could adapt our program to still provide that support if, God forbid, the schools went to virtual again because of the pandemic and those things.
I think it's so great in one way. I get the feedback, but I think it's so great in one way that, if the school's closed tomorrow, we have a way of adapting. We have a way of taking a challenge and moving and fixing it. And I think having kids see that, you know what, a challenge came up today and now we're overcoming it. I really think that's huge building blocks for children to learn how to adapt to bad situations. We're all going to have bad situations happen to us in life. It's, we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we react to it. So I think having those challenges is actually makes the children stronger. Kathy, do you have anything to, add to that?
Well, I was just going to add, I agree with everything you said. And I think Emily and Joyce and the AmeriCorps members at Family Service have been heroes for the adaptability that they have exhibited in the last year. And I think in terms of our disability inclusion work, it's a really good example. I think there are things that if we had said 2 years ago, if you want to recruit more people to serve as AmeriCorps members who have disabilities, or you want to be able to serve more children with disabilities, you might want to consider some sort of virtual option. Everybody would have been, no, that's not possible. There's no way we could do that. And so I think we've opened up all of our world to some flexibility about how we can make access differently and think about, hybrid in that broadest world. So I'm very hopeful that this will enable us to be able to, recruit and permit more people with disabilities to serve as volunteers, either regular volunteers or AmeriCorps volunteers, because people want to, but they've felt that cut off, or programs like, Joyce and Emily, who, are doing amazing work, haven't had the tools before to figure out how to make it adaptable. And now, right. Here I am doing a podcast with you on Vimeo. I never thought that was something that I would be doing.
It's so true, because people with disabilities for so many years have been told you can't go to work virtually, you can't go to the doctors virtually, you can't go to school virtually. And within a month of the pandemic, it was across the world, not just the country, but it was across the world that all of this worked, happened, and things. So, it's great. But the one downfall I think they had to it is that isn't the only way. Like, no one likes the isolation. No one likes to be, just constantly virtual. That now you don't like that virtual all the time. When the world opens up again, take us with you. Make sure it's accessible so we can actually join you, where we're not secluded and off to, all by ourselves. Joyce, you were going to say something earlier, and I apologize for cutting you off.
Yeah, that's okay. Not a problem. No, but what I was going to say is, when we went virtual, when everything shut down, we did switch gears. We had our walking school bus program to school, but at the time when the pandemic hit, our AmeriCorps team jumped into place, and we actually walked students for a short time to get their meals at meal sites. It was a little difficult after a while because parents were afraid to let their children out. They just felt as though they wanted to keep them in their homes. Nobody really, we didn't have testing at that time. We didn't have, the the knowledge that we have now, the information at our fingertips. But the AmeriCorps team that Emily was on actually brought us to a completely different level with being able to provide Chromebooks to students, helping them to, assisting parents with hotspots, getting them online, because many of our families are newcomer families. They don't speak English, and they've never had a Chromebook in front of them before. So we have members that are bilingual as well, that we're able to walk our parents and children through setting up their Chromebook, getting into a Google Classroom. And that, I think, really spoke to the AmeriCorps model, and also the commitment that we had at Family Service to making sure that parents had accessibility to resources, that children were able to still continue school. And, it was really a concerted effort, but that the team that we had that year was just phenomenal. I mean,
That's amazing.
they got our food program off the ground, because all of them are really bright individuals. They work together. They're all tech savvy. It's one of the things that I am not at all. Emily will attest to that. She walks me through every day with, any kind of technology question that I have. And it was really great to see them come together, because that's what AmeriCorps is. We are in the community. We are boots on the ground. We are not, desk people that are, we do answer phones, don't get me wrong, but it is truly, that spoke to the model of what AmeriCorps was. And in fact, we do have a Be Safe program that we'll get to eventually, Tina, but we were recognized nationally for it because of our AmeriCorps team. So I just wanted to kind of put that in there, because really, they're young adults, they're great people, and Emily and that team really deserved a huge hand.
That's incredible. I mean, what
Applause.
you guys do is absolutely incredible. And, you get the parents hesitation, because like I said, if the kids are fine, but the kids are coming home to somebody like me who's immune compromised, or having older generations that are living in the house, because a lot of the cultures are multi-generational, living in the house from great grandma right down to the children. That is scary, because you don't want to bring something home. The kids may not get sick, the parents may not get sick, but the grandparents may get sick. It's so amazing. Emily, how has this school year changed a little bit now that it's back open again? How are the kids adapting?
So our school district was actually open all of last year, which was really interesting. So this is a lot of the kids' second year, having to wear a mask, having to socially distance, and having to be more conscious of those things. And it's really amazing. In the beginning of last year, I would say it was a big problem to make sure that kids kept their masks up over their nose, and just were mindful of those things. And now we rarely have a problem with kids not wearing masks. They've really, just adapted it as their new normal. And they're much more cognizant of, giving each other personal space and things. They've just really been able to kind of pivot and, understand that they need to wash their hands more often, and just be extra careful. And we have a whole grade of kids who have not known any different. Those who were in kindergarten last year, now in first grade, like this is all they've known for school. So this really is normal for them.
Yeah, that's great. Now, if we could just teach the parents to join in, would be awesome. The kids, I find, adapt very well, because, like I said, they find it as their new normal. You can make it a game. And like I said, I think it gives them good hygiene practices. There's so much good to it. Different things that they learn, that you kind of take the good with the bad. Joyce, I do want to hear about the program that you were talking about. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
The Be Safe program, that is our, that was developed right at the start of the pandemic. It was supposed to simply serve 200 families with PPE. We had bathroom tissue, laundry detergent, hand sanitizer, masks, items that we could get to people. And we eventually evolved into food, other resources that we were able to provide people. And we decided that, or we felt and realized that it's a program that's very necessary. So we are now an official food pantry, but we deliver to people. And that's the difference between us and some of the food pantries. There are people, especially in our area, I should say that we deliver throughout Rhode Island, but especially in Providence, there were some families that we discovered just did not have transportation. They would have to take 2 buses to get to us. So this is why we continued with the delivery model. And we were able to do that because we did have an AmeriCorps team. We still had a number of AmeriCorps members that wanted to complete their service when, the world seemed to shut down at that time. So we were able to continue our program. Our members continued their service. We did have some that were that stayed home because different circumstances. They didn't feel comfortable coming into the office, so they had jobs where they contacted people, and then we had people on site that did the packing as well as the delivering. And it's evolved into a really great program, a very strong program, and we're still delivering to today. In fact, I had a family that went COVID, was positive in school. We delivered their Chromebooks. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because when the world shut down, I ended up being the liaison to the state for the disability, because for every executive order that was made, we had to make sure that the disability community could, like the contactless delivery. That's great. You're going to leave all of these bags on my front porch. Well, I'm in a wheelchair. How am I going to get them from my front porch inside my house? Or if I'm blind, how do I know how many bags you left out there? You know what I mean? So we came up with like a code word system. And then I trained a lot of small businesses, especially restaurants, how to respectfully ask if the person needed some kind of accommodation, or the code word system, where they would knock on the door, yell the code word, take 5 steps in, drop the bags down and leave, where the person could still be socially distanced, but yet the bags made it safely in the house where they didn't have to worry about it. Or those who had elevator lifts or wheelchair lifts, we would have them delivered to the wheelchair lifts and send them up, so there was no contact, but yet still work for the disability community. So, we adapted for every executive order. We had to make an adaptation to make sure that everybody was taken care of. So I love, and most of the food pantries are in the bottom basement of churches, which are inaccessible for anybody who's disabled.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys do, Kathy? I don't know if you can answer this one, but I'm going to ask it to you anyway. What do you do for those families that have a lot of allergies or food restrictions for your donations? Do you adjust to that? I mean, there's so many allergies out there now. How do you adjust to something like that?
So Serve RI, we support AmeriCorps members and AmeriCorps program directors. So we do not do any direct service. So I'm going to defer that question back to my colleagues at Family Service.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Joyce, Emily,
Yeah, so we do accommodate people with allergies. People enter information into a portal, and we ask that question if they do have any kind of food allergies, and we just build a bag around that with what we have in-house. We do contact people too if we're a little unsure about what they can and cannot eat. So there is direct contact with people, and we can accommodate their needs as required.
That's amazing, because a lot of food pantries don't do that as well. So it's just another thumbs up to you guys of what you do. Mm-hmm. Emily, not only for the food allergies, but for, I don't know how to say this, but for the culturally, you want to be culturally, aggressive to making sure that, somebody who eats a lot of Mexican food or Italian food or, their culture food. Do you guys do a lot of that as well, like taking that into account?
Yeah, I would say as the program has grown, we've been able to kind of expand the offerings. But even way back in the beginning, I remember we had a family who was from Nepal that was really restricted in, what they typically ate. And luckily, we had someone on staff who actually was able to talk with them in their language and was able to find out that they really only wanted like rice and some like chickpeas, I think, from us, just kind of like standard beans and rice things. And so we just made them kind of a custom bag with those items. And now we're lucky enough to have a lot of more culturally significant food, especially for the Spanish community in Providence. That we've been able to get some really interesting produce and be safe, and some tortillas and yellow rice and jalapenos, and things that just might make bland food pantry food a little more exciting for people.
Yeah. Well, the one thing a lot of people don't think about is if you're accustomed to eating certain things and you completely just change that diet, it's changing your entire system. You can set somebody's system off because you're completely changing what their body is used to. That's never a good thing. So it's so amazing that you guys can, meet all of these separate needs and, talk to the individuals. Kathy, can you tell us anybody who wants to serve for AmeriCorps, if they wanted to serve Rhode Island and they wanted to be part of this program, how would they go about doing that?
Sure. Yes, there are AmeriCorps programs at multiple agencies throughout the state. So Family Service of Rhode Island is one. Fab Newport, so you can serve down in Newport. You can also serve Accessing Home has locations throughout the state, including Woonsocket, through Blackstone neighborhood. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm going to mix up all their words. Neighbor Works, Blackstone,
Which
River
one?
Valley.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, I just started to transpose the words of their names. So we've got.
That's okay.
So anyways, that's just a sampling of some of the sites that we serve. You can work with children, helping with housing assistance, multiple words. So 2 key websites I would direct people to. The first one is AmeriCorps.gov. And the other one, if you want to look just locally, is serverhodeisland.com. That's serverhodeisland.com or AmeriCorps.gov. And
perfect, because I want to get my organization part of that, so that way we can, because I serve a lot of the elderly, disabled communities for the most part, and I know a lot of them want to feel valued and want to do more for their community. They just need the opportunity to do so. And like I said, we go into a lot of schools and we teach kids how to interact with the disabled community or the elderly community and not be afraid or be able to ask, respectful questions, and learning all about that. So it's great that organizations and individuals can become and serve, each other. That's amazing. Joyce, give us anything that you have coming up, or know about, that you want to promote right now.
Oh gosh, it's a loaded question. We do have an upcoming we have an upcoming food packaging day on Martin Luther King that's going to be hosted at Family Service of Rhode Island that Serve Rhode Island is putting together. So volunteers through the AmeriCorps program will be coming in, packing up food. I think we'll be able to serve 20,000 families, which is great, or 20,000 meals. I'm never quite sure how he measures that, but it's through the Outrage program. They're coming to our agency. We'll be packing all day, and we'll be able to distribute that food throughout Rhode Island. We are also working on an initiative where we do work with a produce market. It's through the Partnership for Providence Parks, and the partnership provides fresh produce on a scale. What's the word I'm looking for, Emily?
Like a sliding pay scale.
Sliding sliding pay scale. So we offer SNAP. We also have a middle of the road, and then we also have a full market share. And the full market shares actually level out what people can afford. If people can't afford X amount of dollars or a full share, they can they can purchase a share at half the price, or if they have SNAP, they can use their SNAP card. And what we're going to be hoping to do is partnering with them in local parks through our HES communities and providing resources for people. And this way they'll be able to come up, meet with somebody about maybe SNAP benefits, or they might be able to meet with them about rent relief, or they might meet you, Tina, if you would like to come down one day. And this will happen in the
absolutely. I
spring.
was
We're
just going to
hoping
say that. Make sure you're sending all of that
Right.
my way, because I will come with my
Absolutely.
bedazzled wheelchair and my crown and sash, and we can, haul people in. And, I am a title holder, the only disabled title holder in a regular pageant. We'll be going out to nationals in July to compete and bring Rhode Island. So I will definitely come on out. So let me know, and I will bring you volunteers as well. So yeah, make sure I'm notified on all of that.
And that's what we're going to be looking for, is volunteers to help pack the shares, to help, just talk up the community. And we want a place where people can come and actually see people in a safe environment. And we feel like this pop-up market will be something that we'll be able to incorporate within communities and just kind of offer up a place where people can see each other face to face.
I am ready to rally the troop.
Lost. Yeah, a lot is being lost because we're not in person. And while I understand the safety of all of that, we still need that person-to-person connection is so important when you're worried about how can I get my SNAP benefits? Where can I find rent relief? And things end up in a vortex, and we want to stop that. We want to be a place
and isolation depression is a real thing.
Absolutely.
When people are locked away, like I said, I live out here in Barville in God's country, and I'm not 3/4 of a mile from anything. There's not even fast food restaurants out here, to go to. So isolation is real. Emily, here's your 2 minutes of fame. Give us anything you want to promote or you want volunteers for.
I'm glad.
Kathy, you're next, so I'll let you give some time to think.
Yeah, I'm glad Chris didn't take what I was already thinking of, but we are still recruiting for this year's AmeriCorps team. We're hoping to bring on some new members come January. So if anyone is interested, they could reach out to Joyce or myself, and we can kind of go through that interview process. But we are always looking for people. It's great for, young adults who might be looking to do an internship in college, or anyone who is maybe taking a gap year and just needs a little bit of time to get some experience, but might not necessarily be ready for a full-time role. It's a really great opportunity. So,
and how can they reach out to you and Joyce? Tell us how they can reach out to you and Joyce.
Our Family Service of Rhode Island website. Yeah, go ahead, Em.
And that is?
Yep, that's what I was
Give us the website.
FamilyServiceRhode-Island.org. But my email and Joyce's email are both of our last names, the first two initial of our first name. So LUCASEM@FamilyServiceRI.org for me.
Yeah, and I'm Levin Joe.
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead.
Family Services.
Sorry, Tina.
RI.org, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. .org.
All right, Kathy, here's your 2 minutes of fame. Give us anything you want to recruit for.
Well, we definitely want to recruit for AmeriCorps members at Family Service RI, as well as at all of our other AmeriCorps programs. And the majority of the programs are recruiting in the spring and for starting in late summer and early fall. But many are looking for members year round. And if you go to serverhodeisland.com, you can see the descriptions of all the programs. And there's Accessing Home that helps people who might be on the edge of rental housing crisis, help find resources, connect them with resources and information, and work with their landlords to help stabilize that housing. It's so critical in this time period. Family Service, which you've heard so much about tonight, is a fabulous program. We also have Teach for America as an AmeriCorps program here in Rhode Island. So those are people who work as full-time teachers in particularly high schools, but other schools, and get that, take their degree specialty and move it right into the classroom in the neediest schools. Fab Newport, they are doing after-school programming and in-school programming in Newport. They're a wonderful program. Farm Fresh Rhode Island, they are currently recruiting for AmeriCorps members. We're going to help with more food distribution, healthy food to communities. And we talked about healthy food, how that connects with so many social service needs, but Farm Fresh, that's their whole mission, is healthy food and getting it to people. And so they have AmeriCorps members there. PASA, Providence After School Alliance, that's a great program for people who love working with kids, want to work part-time, because they're just in the after school period. And finally, TerraCorps, that, if you have an interest in environmental issues, in helping, restore the land and looking at land use issues, that's the place that you can serve. So we've got all these places that AmeriCorps members can work in part-time, full-time positions, and get experience and serve, and boy, the experience of a life. I mean, look at Emily. She started as an AmeriCorps, and now she's on staff doing work that she loves.
Yeah, and we have hired quite a
what
few.
We're telling you all is there's so many ways for you to be giving back. So there is no excuse for you to be sitting around and doing nothing when you can be giving back to your community and giving back to your planet. If you don't remember any of these wonderful ladies' contact, the Family Service RI website is on our website, rampinclusion.com. You can rewatch this podcast, plus have their link, plus the AmeriCorps.org link is there. The Serve RI link is there. So, and if you can't figure all of that out, just message me and I will introduce to you not only my colleagues, but my friends. So you have no excuse and say, I don't remember how to contact them, because I will make sure it happens. If you're looking to volunteer, get a hold of me, because I'm going to be recruiting for Joyce, Emily, and Kathy to get people more active and out there. If I can do it from my wheelchair, no one has an excuse of why you can't give a couple of hours of your time every now and then to give back to your community. Be blessed for what you have, because you never know when you won't have it anymore. So you might be on the receiving end at some point. So it'll be good for you to give so you can get back when you need it later on. I thank you, ladies, so much. This was such a great. Oh, by the way, did everybody like and check out my t-shirt tonight? I have a Coalition Live Podcast t-shirt, and there's a special. If you click the link in the live feed, you can get 10% off tonight. You can support a local podcast where you can keep us running, where we bring you great resources every week, as well as being very stylish with my logo across your chest. So what more could you ask for? It's all great and giving back. And also, all of these ladies are a proud supporter of our Red Bag Initiative. Go to www.rampinclusion.com and grab your red bag today. It's keeping all of your medical information on you at all times, and it's non-tech based. So if there's a power outage, a flood, or a natural disaster, your information is safe, private, and only the EMTs and the doctors who take care of you will know. It has saved my life twice now, plus a few of my friends. So everybody needs to grab their red bag today. I'm going to give you guys all 1 minute to go around and tell everybody the biggest thing that you want them to take away from this podcast today and what they should be doing. I'm going to start with Emily, so I'm not always putting Joyce on the block. So Emily, you go first. Give us your plea of why everybody should sign up and join in today.
Yeah, I think you said it best. You know, there's plenty of ways to get involved, whether you're a person who might be interested in doing something for just a couple hours a week, doing something virtually, doing something in person, being able to walk some of our students to school in the mornings. There's a wide variety of opportunities to really get involved and give back to the community. So there really is something for everybody. You know, whatever kind of experience you might be looking to get out of it, we might be able to help you.
That's great. And as much as you're giving to somebody else, you're getting back tenfold. Trust me. It makes your heart grow 10 sizes by helping somebody else. I firmly believe that because I'm still here today because I fight through all of my disabilities and make sure I give back. And that keeps me going. Kathy, give us your 1-minute plea of why everybody should join AmeriCorps and serve Rhode Island.
Sure. Well, I will say AmeriCorps is sometimes called the Domestic Peace Corps. And for almost the entire history of AmeriCorps, the past 30 years, 25 years, AmeriCorps has had a commitment to being accessible for people with disabilities to serve as volunteers. And so not only in Rhode Island, but throughout the country, there are many people with disabilities who are serving and getting that rewarding experience of learning and growing and being a part of their community. We encourage you to check AmeriCorps out as a way to participate and be engaged.
Thank you so much. And Joyce, your 1-minute plea of why everybody should join in the fun.
Well, we don't do things for our own good. We do them for the greater good. And, I am a firm believer in being a part of, a mission that speaks to helping people that may need additional services that in areas that are under-resourced. We all want the best. We all, for our children, for our families. And I feel as though that's what our agency offers, but I also feel too that this model with volunteers provides, the opportunity for communities to come together. It's like an East meets West type of deal. And we want to make sure that we can all come together and do our best to raise people up. It's never a handout.
I want to thank you three ladies. Yeah, I want to thank you three ladies for all that you do because you really are making a difference in this world. And we are so proud of all of you for everything you do. And the other thing about getting out and volunteering, you're changing your perspective to new cultures, to new people, to new ideas, and another way of looking at things. So as much as you're helping out, you're learning in the process because you're meeting and learning new people and new perspectives every day. And that's what we all need. Because like I said, disability is the only minority that anyone at any time can join. So just remember that, you may be the one down the road needing the services or needing the accommodations or needing the help. So giving back now just sets your good karma in the right direction. So there is no reason why you can't once a month, once a year, once a week, give a few hours of your time and give back, because I'll tell you, it will do you wonders to help somebody else. That's what it's all about. So thank you, ladies, so much for joining us tonight. It was such a pleasure talking to you. Keep me involved in everything because RAMP is fully on board with all of this, and we will be at everything because I have a big mouth and I can rally the troops more than anybody else because I will accidentally run them over if they don't want to volunteer. So, it's got to bring the best. Accidentally, of course.
Yeah.
So come on out and volunteer. And as I always say, don't just sit there, make a difference. Thank you so much. We'll see you all right back here next Wednesday night at 7:00 live on RAMP. Real Access Motivates Progress, live Wednesday night podcast. Have a great week, everybody. See you next time.